So I didn't get invited.
No.
All right, everybody ready?
I like your.
Oh, yeah.
Fasten your seatbelts. Your trays back up. Time being 10:50 a.m. on September 27, 2023. I'd like to call this meeting to order of Kane County's American Rescue Plan Committee. Clerk, please call roll for attendance.
Kenyon,
Yes.
Bates, Gums.
Gums is not.
Leonard,
Leonard here.
Molina,
Molina present.
Strothman,
Here.
Surges, Tepe,
Happy here.
and Sanchez.
Sanchez present.
Surges is around.
Yeah, he's around. He'll be back. Okay, we have no remote attendance requests. I need a motion to approve the minutes of August 23rd, 2023.
And moves.
Kenyon moves.
Ask for unanimous consent.
Kenyon, the last minute maneuver asked for unanimous
Kind
consent.
of save your time, sir.
No
Oh,
objection.
either way, it's a voice vote, but any objections? Hearing none. Minutes are approved. Public comment on agenda items. I'm not aware of anyone signed up and I don't see anyone online. So we will move on. Discussion items, program manager update. Ms. Fonstock, do you have anything for us? Okay. Suzanne is working hard on just, Mr. Surges is here. You can mark him present.
Cliff, we queued you.
Begrudgingly, we'll mark him present. Ms. Fonstock is working very hard on grappling all of the projects that we have coming. As you can see, our agendas reflect that, and she is currently interviewing candidates to bring on to our team. And it's sounding like we may have some interesting ones, and we'll have more for you on that soon. But make sure to reach out to her and stop by over in the Yellow House if you guys have any questions. Other committee matters, I have nothing at this time. So we'll move on to new business. First, we have a resolution authorizing the use of state and local fiscal recovery funds to fund an access control program for the Kane County Building Management Department. I need a motion and a second.
Leonard moves.
Kenyon would second Leonard's motion.
Okay, any questions on this? All right, clerk, please call the roll.
Kenyon,
Yes.
Bates, Gums, Leonard,
Leonard, yes.
Molina,
Molina, yes.
Strothman, Surges,
Yes.
Tepe,
Yes.
and Sanchez.
Sanchez, yes. Okay, next up, we have a resolution authorizing the use of state and local fiscal recovery funds to fund the Kane County Manufacturing and Sustainability Fund for the Kane County Development and Community Services Department. I need a motion and a second.
Strathman.
Okay, any questions on this?
Can we have a little overview of what this is about?
Yeah, I was
On all
going to
of
ask
these?
Mr. Van
Thank you.
Kerkhoff to approach the microphone and the podium and just give us a brief overview of where we're at. It's been a while since we've talked about this project, so. What's that? Ability, and so Mavis has to hear it.
Yes, good morning, Mark Van Kerkhoff. I'm so excited to be here this morning. This is a concept that we've been talking about for several years for continuing a partnership that we've had with IMEC. We did a successful matching program. IMEC, yes, Illinois Manufacturing Excellence Center. They are a statewide organization that's primarily federal funded. Every state has some type of a federally funded manufacturing support organization. Ours goes under the name of Illinois Manufacturing Excellence Center, or IMEC for short. They are a trusted resource for manufacturers. In fact, many of our best leads and inroads in getting to know our manufacturers locally have been through IMEC, because IMEC is already a trusted partner and a known entity to our manufacturing businesses. So prior to the pandemic, we had a successful matching grant program when they were utilizing an innovation, manufacturing innovation grant. So when the ARPA funds became available, that's one of the things that our department proposed was using ARPA dollars to supersize a program with IMAC that would help our small manufacturers, which come under the small business criteria. We have most of our manufacturers are small businesses, less than 250 employees. So that was the concept that's been worked on for a couple of years. Just in the last 3 months, I really want to credit Chris Toth from our team, David Belay, who's the executive director, and his team for IMAC and our ARPA team in taking this idea and making it fit into the ARPA criteria. In terms of bringing it forth as this morning as a resolution with a concrete program plan and resolution and agreement authorizing things. So one thing for you to know in background is IMEC is already partnering with McHenry County and Cook County for using their ARPA dollars for supporting manufacturers. So one of the things that this reflects is what they've learned working with those two counties. They're already up and promoted at IMAC's website for those programs. But one of the differences with the program that we're proposing here is that in the other county programs are sort of single project topic services that are being offered. And manufacturers can only pick one. And what they found is that a lot of small manufacturers don't need just one area of support. They need maybe 3, 4, or 5. So the largest part of the budget proposed with this program would be a bundled, if you watch the commercials for insurance and whatever, a bundled offering of assistances to a small manufacturing project. So we're calling it a lighthouse, so to speak. So number one, they would get a bundle of services that will really help their business. But then also, what they do with these lighthouse manufacturers on these projects would then become examples for other manufacturers in our region. And that's a lot of the way in our county. The second largest part of the budget is for what we're calling expanding talent pipelines program. And that's in response to what we've been hearing for years, is that our manufacturers need workers. We also heard a year ago at our jobs committee presentation from 2 organizations that work with persons with autism, persons with disabilities, and some of the groundbreaking things they're doing and having them employed at companies like Suncast and our hospitals and everything. So part of this would be working on the manufacturer's end, having them do an evaluation in terms of what their needs might be, introducing the idea of what working with a more diverse employment base might be, and then being able to match up those people and programs with job openings and employment needs that our manufacturers have. So persons with disabilities is one example, but it's also going to focus on tapping some of our underrepresented populations. We have a large Hispanic population that's underrepresented in our manufacturing workforce, women, other categories as well. So we have a lot of great organizations that are working from that end, trying to get people placed. What IMEC is going to do is work specifically with manufacturers and help them prepare and understand and have supports to actually be able to make that next level jump in types of employment. So that's kind of the overview in their budget. I'll note that they are estimating, about $40,000 in administration costs, but they are willing to absorb that within their general budget, to put all of the ARPA funds out to help our manufacturers. So we're very pleased with that. It's a great leveraging of a federally resourced organization to utilize our ARPA dollars. So happy to answer any questions. Chris Toth and Vince Coyle and Suzanne pounded out a lot of the details, so they're also available to answer those.
Ms. Bates.
So I believe the sustainability in this title means to sustain the businesses,
That's
not
correct.
the other kind of sustainability.
Well, yes and no. I mean, part of the evaluation they might do on their facilities might be things that help make their facilities more sustainable, whether it's using our PACE, our Keep Pace program for introducing things that would increase their energy savings or automation that would increase
Good.
their sustainability. So it does include that, but it's sustainability in that broader sense of sustaining the business to stay open and keep providing jobs in Kane County.
Well, you have to stay open to be sustainable. You have to be sustainable to be sustainable.
Yes.
Okay. thank
Mr.
you.
Leonard?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Van Kirkhoff, you know, I read over the description. I see that there are about 700 small manufacturers in Kane County. Very impressive. I support them 100%. And I understand the two objectives, you know, to increase and improve automation and production, and then to expand the talent pipeline. Where I have a question is, I understand our costs that we're going to be using ARPA funds for is $1 million. It says it is anticipated that these two programs will generate over 25 million of aggregate impact. Could you define that for me?
Sure. So I think they define that a little bit in their proposal, and that they use a tool for measuring those impacts. I'm not specifically familiar with that tool, but that's part of what they'll be able to report back in terms of the impacts. Part of their measuring tool they use as an organization as they do these programs statewide.
So they will report back to us. I guess my concern is we have 700 small manufacturers. 20 are going to be involved in the automation improvement. How many will be involved in the expanded talent process?
We hope all of them. Because it's going to be,
700.
it's going to be open to all of them. We're going to be, because some of the larger ones may be better suited to like Suncast did with working with Autonomy Works to be able to utilize that. So we didn't want to limit that to the small businesses, but that funding includes some of those supports for bringing people into the workplace. So we're really trying to incentivize and increase the knowledge and understanding of our manufacturers of how this workforce is available to them.
So of those 700 manufacturers, and maybe even some larger ones, it looks like there's going to be about 400,000 allocated to those 700.
Correct. And some of that will be in the workshops and programming, and then some of that will be allocated if say, you know, manufacturer A goes to one of those workshops, and then they say, well, we'd like to do the next step of having a analysis done. And then the next step, they say, well, yeah, we could hire 4 people. And then the next step would be those financial supports to do that.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions on this project? Okay, thank you, Mr. Van Kirkhoff. Appreciate it.
Thank you. We're very excited to see this moving forward.
Yeah, it's been a long time coming, and with ARPA, keep in mind that the initial usage was meant to be on responding to the pandemic, which is now past. The other aspect of ARPA is recovery, and this speaks directly to that economic recovery. So I'm really excited that this is coming through now. So with nothing else from the committee, clerk, please call the roll.
Kenyon,
Yes.
Bates,
Bates, yes.
Dums absent, Leonard,
Leonard, yes.
Molina,
Molina, yes.
Strathman,
Strathman, yes.
Surges, Tepe,
Tuppy, yes.
and Sanchez.
Sanchez, yes. All right, next up, a resolution authorizing the use of state and local fiscal recovery funds to fund the mobile operations command post for the Kane County Office of Emergency Management. I need a
Molina
motion and a
moves.
second. Molina moves.
Leonard seconds.
Leonard seconds. This is something that initially came through the sheriff's office when OEM was underneath the sheriff's office, but they have since been separated. Are there any questions on this? Sir, I don't know your name. If you could approach the podium and just kind of give a brief overview. I apologize for not introducing myself before the meeting.
John Menching with Emergency Management. This project did start even before I was with Emergency Management back in 2020, I believe. At first, it was to replace our aging unit. But as we went through COVID, we found ourselves coordinating a response to something that we hadn't seen before. And the technology that's involved in the vehicle is lacking. We're trying to update that, but we're working on a platform that dates back to 2005, trying to get parts to repair that and keep it functioning. It's becoming very difficult to do that. And we found ourselves in a mission that we hadn't addressed before. Part of, as we were going through this process, how did we respond to COVID? Well, found ourselves actually distributing PPE. And we're still doing that today through state resources that come to us. And setting up in locations that we hadn't been before. This platform gives us the opportunity of being able to go into an area and be able to support the other public safety entities to be able to meet these different missions that we're finding. So we hope that this vehicle, as we've spec'd it out and you've seen the spec in the packet, will carry us through the next 20 years of use, because that's pretty much what we got out of the previous one. As we look forward to the future, it gives us the ability to be able to expand and modify, which I think is what we're finding out we need to be able to do. I do have some drawings that I can show you as to what it's going to look like. It's the concept is actually based on, if you remember when the sheriff got their bomb squad truck, they're almost identical that way. Obviously, it's going to be white. So it's going to be white. Yeah,
Star Wars.
I do have a sketch of what it'll look like. I can show you. But it is almost the same size. When I was talking to the chair, she's like, you're talking almost a fire engine in size. And it is a large response vehicle that can deploy into not only communications, but it also gives us the ability to have a conference center that can function year round in any weather. Where we've used this even just recently, it was our mobile office that CANCOM worked out of during LIV. We used it for the tornado response. It was out there for 2 days back in January when Elgin had their major gas line that was hit. It was out there for 3 days. So this is a vehicle that is self-sustaining, that can set up and operate for days on end if necessary. This just will allow us to continue down that path going forward.
I was going to recommend that you should offer a tour, at least a ride along with for Mr. Surgis, and I would second that. And
I betcha.
Put him to work.
Yeah, we could do a
But-
meeting there. Why not?
Yeah,
Right out here.
yeah.
Got another job.
There's no doubt we would love to, once it arrives,
Yeah.
once we get the permission to go forward. And the company asks for 50% down, it's a 16 to 18 month build. The company's based out of, I believe, Wisconsin, where parts of it come from Michigan. And the chassis is a commercial chassis, and it matches what we're trying to do is keep our parts similar to that of the sheriff's bomb truck, so that, trying to source repairs and that is consistent and keeps it running more efficiently, so that we don't have a lot of downtime potentially is what we're hoping for.
Ms. Bates, you had a question?
Well, in spite of the comments that I'm hearing from my colleagues, this is not a military type vehicle.
No,
Thank you.
no, it is it has a conference room in the front and communications capability in the back with even it'll have the ability of being able to do Zoom sessions and that, as we're now trying to support police and fire in their responses to.
No, we
Let's
cannot
see
fly
that.
drones out of it. Thank you, sir.
Or gunners, yeah.
Mr. Menching, is there any concern of maybe cost drift with such a lead time and maybe?
Once
go up?
we have that signed agreement in place, once the board gives us the go ahead, the price is locked. So that's kind of where we're at right now. We've seen numerous price increases. The bid we have right now, I think, is good for at least 60 days. That is in your packet, if I'm not mistaken, off the top of my head. So that's where, as we move forward, we have been hit with quite a few price increases since this project started back in 2020. So it's good to see that this moving forward, and the sooner we can get it board approval, I think we lock that price, and if it doubles in the next 2 years, we're safe from that.
Sounds good. All right. Any other questions from the committee or the board? Okay, thank you, Mr. Menching.
Yeah.
Clerk, please call the roll.
Kenyon,
Yes.
Bates,
Yes.
Gums absent, Leonard,
Leonard, yes.
Molina,
Molina, yes.
Strothman,
Yes.
Surges, Tuppy,
Yes.
Sanchez, yes.
Oh, you got the vision.
Cliff's saving up for one now. I could just see it. Cliff's saving up for one. They need 2 parking spots out there.
Oh, it looks like a coffee shop. Okay.
Where else the cops go? Coffee shop.
All right.
Espresso machine, get an espresso machine.
Starbucks.
All right. Yeah, everybody check out the sketch he's got there. I know it's exciting. Toys are fun. We don't get that option too many times here at the county board to have a little fun with that. All right. Next resolution, authorizing the use of state and local fiscal recovery funds to fund counseling needs and meeting the increased demand for Kane County Child Advocacy Center.
Bates moves,
Leonard seconds.
no drones.
No drones. Do we have someone from Child Advocacy Center that can speak? Ma'am, if you could approach the podium.
My name is Julie Pullman. I'm from the Child Advocacy Center.
Louder, please,
Close.
louder.
Yeah, that microphone is not sensitive. You gotta point it right at your mouth, so.
How's this?
That's better.
Okay,
Yeah.
thank you.
Blow on it.
Our program includes several parts. We're looking for increased funding for children and families to receive counseling. Currently, our VOCA funds only afford about 15 sessions. And what we see is that about 35 to 40% of family members do need increased sessions because it's just not enough to be able to process the complex levels of trauma. So we're asking for funds for that, as well as one of the barriers to treatment is transportation in itself, that families cannot get to counseling. And so we would like to either provide gas cards or provide Uber transportation to make that accessible to all, so that it's not excluding people who financially just can't afford to get to counseling. And then a third portion of our project is equipping rooms in the Child Advocacy Center Annex, which is our second building that currently houses our medical suite, and it has some rooms available so that we can equip these 2 rooms with telehealth equipment so that if families do have medical vulnerabilities and can't be in person, they can come to this private space in order to receive their sessions. We also have had some counselors who have had medical vulnerabilities and can still provide their treatment, but just don't have the ability to do it in person. The rooms would be equipped with like large televisions and recording equipment so that it still feels like a lifelike experience. It's not just looking at a small screen on a phone, but really feeling the connection with the counselor across from them.
Yeah, we approved a grant for Casa Kane County earlier this year, and that helps children in the system, representing their needs and their best interests. This is covering another aspect that those children need. So, no, we have a motion in a second.
If you'll donate your car.
Yeah,
it'll
call
make
the
it a lot
question.
easier.
We're ready. We're ready.
Any
Yes.
questions on this
Okay.
resolution? Okay. Thought you had something real, Bill. Come on. Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right. Okay, hearing no other questions or comments, clerk, please call the roll.
Kenyon,
Yes.
Bates.
Yes,
Gums absent, Leonard,
Leonard, yes.
Molina,
Molina, yes.
Strothman,
yes.
Surges, Tuppy,
Happy yes.
and Sanchez.
Sanchez, yes. Okay, next up, resolution authorizing the use of state and local fiscal recovery funds to fund Kane County tourism recovery and promotion for a sustainable future fund for the Kane County Development and Community Service Department. Mavis, are you gonna motion for this? It's got
Davis
sustainable
Bates
in it.
moves.
Bates moves, anybody
Strathman's
care to
yes.
second? Strathman and Mr. Van Kirkhoff is back up to walk us through this one.
Sure. Good morning, Mark Van Kirkhoff again. And again, I want to start off just by thanking Chris Toth from our team, our partners, Elgin and Aurora Convention Visitors Bureaus, and our ARPA team, Suzanne and Vince Coyle, on their work in taking what's been a concept kind of long in the making to fruition. The need for this, I think, is probably most apparent of many of the things from the pandemic. Tourism shut down. And early on in the recovery period, our two partners on this project, Aurora Area Convention Visitors Bureau and the Elgin Area Convention Visitors Bureau, asked for a meeting with Madam Chairman, and Dale Berman was in attendance also, to sit down and say, how can the county work with us to promote and help our tourism industry recover? And just a couple of things in brief overview. One, Kane County does not have a Kane County Convention Visitors Bureau that covers the county like DuPage County does and McHenry County does. So we're actually serviced by these two different bureaus. They are very specific in how they're accredited and by the state as a bureau. They're primarily funded by hotel motel tax. So a lot of their funding and marketing is driven by what's going to bring overnight stays to contribute to that hotel motel tax. So they sat down with us and we began talking, and now it's in its final form for you today. And primarily a couple of things you'll notice in their proposal. It is mostly for marketing, digital ad, print ads, marketing services, using a very sophisticated Datify software, which actually helps them report accurately where people are coming from as a result of their ads. So we have very good data reporting on the effectiveness of this. Specifically, they're going to be working with us for promoting our Fabulous Fox Water Trail, which is our big new tourism draw to promote sports tournaments, which is a huge and growing industry. It's actually one of our leading drawers of visitors to Kane County currently. Agritourism, which is also, continues to grow, and the county board supports. And then weekend getaways for families, and looking at promoting our variety of things going on with food trails and local brewery trails and those kind of things. So with that, they will be on those ads, will be having a Kane County logo, so that all the things that we pay for will be branded and draw attention to Kane County. The one last thing I'll just mention is, because their funding is from other sources are generally targeted at overnight stays, they're supposed to be outside of a 50-mile radius for what they're targeting. What they'll be able to do with our ARPA funding is really also target the whole Chicago metro area, which is a huge vacuum that we're missing now, and able to draw folks from all over the Chicagoland region who can come out by train for the day to enjoy our festivals and different things, or easily drive out on either tollway. So opens up another whole marketing sector for them as well. So with that, I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Ms. Bates.
So we've got Elgin, we've got Aurora, but this will be King County. Is that correct? Or is
Well,
this just-
between the two of them, they cover about 90% of Kane County.
Okay. So we're just supporting these two entities. We're not. starting
Correct.
from-
They're the only two accredited convention visitors bureaus that have any territory or responsibility.
This is not creating a new program. It's supporting.
Correct.
Okay, I have one more question before I yield the floor. Will this support cow cuddling?
Not specifically, but if one of our villages or groups was going to have a cow cuddling event and wanted that marketed,
you very
that would
much.
probably be in one of the digital ads.
You better check the water supply here. You're drinking something strange. I'd support bison petting.
Mark, is my understanding of this that this money is domiciled in your department and then you will kick it out as needed? Where do these funds, if we approve these funds and the board ultimately does, where does this $1 million go to?
They will be invoiced to Kane County and paid directly out of the ARPA funds. So this will not be added to the development department budget at all. Where our team will be involved in helping oversee, administer, their payments in and out. But these will be paid directly out of the ARPA dollars.
To whom?
Oh, to the Elgin, Greater Elgin Convention Visitors Bureau and the Aurora Area Convention.
Got it,
Visitors
directly.
Bureau.
So
directly to them.
Perfect. That's all I need. Thank you.
Mr. Berman,
The executive director of. the
microphone, please.
Is going to
Microphone.
be in Aurora today. And as guests of the Aurora Convention Visitor Bureau, so. See him.
Let's go visit him today. That's what you're saying. All right.
Yes, and I do want to thank Crystal Lee Murphy, who's the executive director of the Elgin Convention Visitors Bureau, and Court Carlson. They have not only been a great resource to help us learn about how this all works for covering Kane County, but they have supported 3 of the grants that we applied for from DCL that we successfully have been awarded about $450,000 worth of funds that they've helped by supporting, their data on the impacts to the tourism industry. So they've been a great partner. So we're excited to see this moving forward to help get the word out of what we're trying to promote.
I think it's been about 2 years since we had that first meeting with the tourism bureaus.
Yes,
And,
that's about right.
It seems that long at least. And it was informative to me, just realizing how much they do and how much more they could do. So this is really, again, that recovery component of the ARPA, where we're at. We're not in response to the pandemic anymore. This is helping us build back. And yeah, so thank you for your work on this, Mr. Van Kerkhoff. There are no other questions on this from the committee. Mr. Leonard and then Mr. Berman.
Just one statement I'd like to make. First of all, it looks like we're spending about 1.6 million over 3 years. And this does help Elgin and Aurora, but it also represents Batavia, Big Rock, Hinckley, Montgomery, North Aurora, and Sugar Grove. So it's not just a 2-unit.
Yeah, so their territory is larger than the city of Aurora or Elgin. Up in the Elgin area, they also cover Gilbert's, Pingree Grove, Hampshire, all the Dundees, Carpentersville. They cover all those communities. So thank you for pointing that out, that this really covers 90% of all of
Did you
King
hear
County's
it?
communities.
He said it.
Santa's Village.
Gilbert's.
Sand Village, yes.
Mr. Berman.
I think I've been on the Aurora Area Convention Visitors Bureau Board since it was founded in 1987, so devote a lot of time to that. And I'll tell you that it is something that the Aurora area has 10 communities that are in it. But it is something for the entire county, and I think it was so happy that we can spread that interest all over the county. So I think it's great.
Anything else from the committee or the board? Okay, clerk, please call the roll.
Kenyon,
Yes.
Bates,
Yes.
Gums absent, Leonard,
Leonard, yes.
Molina,
Melina, yes.
Strothman,
Yes.
Surges, Tepe,
Yes.
and Sanchez.
Sanchez, yes. Okay, next up, resolution authorizing the ARPA program manager to approve invoices from Ernst & Young LLP for professional services related to the ARPA program. I need a motion and a second.
Molina will move.
Melina moves.
Strathman.
Strathman seconds. This is a bit of a housekeeping resolution. Typically, we've brought forward individual resolutions for each invoice. It's a little outside of our normal process at the county. All other departments don't get each invoice approved. We did that originally, I think, just for transparency of the committee to help everybody monitor what's going on and see what our expenses are like. But at the end of the day, it's just another time suck that ends up happening. And really, we get a report every month anyway on our expenses with our third-party consultants. So this is a way to just streamline our meetings and keep things moving along smoothly. You'll still know what we're spending. And as always, if you have any questions on our expenses with our third-party consultant, first stop is to go see Ms. Fonstock. She's got all the answers you'll need on how the program is going and the work with our consultants. So with that, I'll take any questions on this resolution. Okay, hearing none, clerk, please call the roll.
Kenyon,
Yes.
Bates,
Bates, yes.
Gums absent, Leonard,
Leonard, yes.
Molina,
Molina, yes.
Strothman,
Strathman, yes.
Surges, Tepe,
Yes.
and Sanchez.
Sanchez, yes. Okay, we have nothing under old business that I am aware of. Executive session, no need. Public comment on non-agenda items. I have no one signed up, no one online. So I'd need a motion and a second to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Mr. Kenyon
Excellent
moves,
job.
Bates seconds.
Excellent job, young man.
Thank you, sir.
So long.